Hello, this is Mad Cat, and welcome to another Shelter Tips. And today's shelter tip is rules. Now, when you go to a shelter, you are given a list of rules by the staff, by the chaplains. Um, and they'll try to convince you that the rules are there for you to help protect you. But they're really not. They're actually there to protect the staff, to protect the chaplains. And I know that sounds weird because a lot of the rules are directed at me as a person who's coming in, someone who's homeless, needing shelter, and all of that. And it has a lot of basic things on there. Don't talk at certain times, like when you're trying to sleep. Church service is mandatory, things like that. But then there's a second set of rules as well on top of that, of things just on how to deal with the day-to-day sort of thing. I'm trying to think of one at the moment, but like there being a certain order in how to eat any meal there. Like I didn't know this going in, but they called you table by table. Now I quickly figured that out, but they never told me that as a rule. I had to ask them what was the latest I could check in by to reserve a bed. They told me it was 10:58. That was listed nowhere on there. There was also, what was the earliest time I could check out? And they just said anytime, which doesn't really make sense because it's like 10:58, I have to check in. Can I check out at 11 p.m.? Can I just check in for 2 minutes? Or maybe it's not really any time. There are a lot of rules that they have that they're fast and loose with. And I just realized yesterday, why? Why are they like this? Why do they have a lot of rules that they don't tell you? Because I often find that I'm breaking some of these rules that I later find out. Now, they don't talk to me. I figure out on my own that I'm breaking these rules and I stop before I get caught. But, I mean, if you don't tell me what the rules are, how am I supposed to know? And this is why I say the rules are designed to protect the staff, to protect the chaplains. Why? Well, because if they're loose with what the rules are, they can easily change them. This is something that Felipe dealt with back in hold on, I need to move. I think I'm bothering someone over here. But this was one of the things that Felipe had to deal with because, like, he wanted to store an umbrella. And, it rains a lot in Philadelphia. So he was given permission to put his umbrella into the storage area. They put it with his stuff. And then one day he finds out when it's raining that they lost it. It's not back there. And another help person told him that, well, we don't store umbrellas there. And he's like, well, why wasn't I told about this? So he's like, well, that's a mistake, but you should have been told we don't do it. Well, if the person who is in charge of the cage area didn't tell him, most likely the person who did it didn't know about the rules. And it was probably allowed until they decided, oh, we're not going to do it anymore, but not bother telling anyone about it. More than likely, the reason why they can't find his umbrella is because someone on the help staff decided to take it for themselves. And, I mean, it really pissed off Felipe. I wouldn't blame him. I'd be pissed off too. Because it's like, you told me that I could do it, and now you're telling me I can't do it, and what am I supposed to do? And why can't you store an umbrella there? I mean, it rains a lot. So it's my opinion that there are a lot of rules, most that you won't ever really know about until you break them, and then you'll get in trouble. try to figure out the rules as fast as you can. Um, I like to ask the help staff a lot, but the problem with doing that is they kind of give me an attitude, like somehow I'm offending them by asking them what the rules are. Or they kind of laugh to themselves, like, yeah, how can you not know these rules? I've only been here for 5 days, you moron. So there are going to be a lot of rules, and a lot of them you don't know about. Try to figure them out so you don't get on the wrong end of a situation, because you can't use the excuse, I didn't know. Because the way they look at it, the way they look at it as they did tell you, even if they didn't, or you should have known, even though there's no way you could have. The rules are also designed to prevent them from being responsible for anything that happens. And this has caused me to want to buy a storage unit, which I will discuss in a future video. But they take all of my stuff out to check to make sure I have no contraband, but there's been a few times that my bag has fallen off a table, almost. And had it, my laptop might have been damaged. If that happened, they would do everything they can to say, well, they're not responsible. Oh, yeah, they are responsible. But, they put in rules like, well, we're not responsible for any damage or any theft of items, even though I'm required to keep my bag with me at all times, except when I go into the shower. I have to leave that behind. And it's like, you're forcing me to do something and then forcing me to do another thing that gives someone an opportunity to steal from me. This is just so they can say, well, we're not responsible. Well, you have to take a shower, but you can't bring your bag with you, but you have to watch your bag at all times. Okay, I can't do that. I can't watch my bag at all times and then take a shower. Luckily, nothing has been stolen, but the opportunity is there. That's one reason why I'm glad I have locks on my bag, but not for all of my zippers, just for the main 2 compartments. So far, people, I don't know. So, a lot of rules that are designed that if something goes wrong, they are not responsible, you are responsible. If something is stolen because you were forced away from your bag, that's your fault. If they say you have to leave your bag somewhere and you do and something gets stolen, that's your fault. If my laptop gets broken because they decided to pull everything out of my bag and let my bag fall onto the ground, that's my fault. And that's what it's like with these places. They create rules so they are not responsible when something goes wrong. So, rules suck. And that is something you're going to deal with when you're living in a shelter. Anywho, that's going to do it for me today. Be sure to check out my About section on this channel. There you'll find my GoFundMe, my PayPal, and my Patreon. I've recently updated my Patreon to reflect that I am now homeless and I'm trying to get off the streets. If you're not interested in doing that, check out my book, Character Astrology Profiles. Every time I sell one of those, it helps me get higher in search results. So that's going to do it for today. This is Mad Cat signing out.